Okay, so hello, hi, I welcome you all to this 11th lecture on heat transfer for chemical engineers. Today we'll be solving a design problem for shell and tube heat exchanger where we will be primarily looking into thermal designing. So the basic problem statement looks like this. You need to design an exchanger to subcool methanol from 95 degrees to 40 degrees, and the flow rate of methanol has been given to you to be 800,000 kg per hour. They have also mentioned that you have to use brackish water as the coolant, and brackish water temperature can go from will enter at 25 degrees Celsius and will leave at 40 degrees Celsius. Alright, this is all we have as of now, and we'll start to solve this problem, and we'll actually be designing a heat exchanger over here in this problem. Alright, so as discussed yesterday, uh, what will be our step 1? Yes, anyone?
We
Yes,
need
Brent.
to know flow rates of the hot stream and cold stream temperature in and out
Yes,
and
correct.
CPU values.
Yes, exactly. So our first step is to complete that table where we know all the inlet and out, where we know both inlet outlet temperatures of both the streams, their mass flow rates, and we calculate Q. Remember this particular table, and for that the additional data point that we will require is the CP values, right? So you guys can uh, start making the table with me, and at the same time calculate the flow rate required for brackish water. So I say here, let's see, start with this. So let this be methanol. This is brackish water. So first thing comes is flow rate. For methanol, they have given it to be 100 kg per hour. Tn is 95, T out is 40, Tn is 25, T out is 40. CP values, just a second. Yeah, so in this problem I have given you the CP values as 4.2 and 2.84, but when you will be doing a design problem, what you have to do is you need to take the mean temperature of the stream. So you take the mean temperature of methanol as 95 plus 40 by 2, and for brackish water you take it 25 plus 40 by 2, somewhere around 37 degrees, and then you take out the CP values from data sheets at that particular mean temperature. So in this problem I have simplified it by directly giving the values to be 4.2 and 2.84. The units are mentioned over here, kilojoule per kg degree Celsius. 4.2, 2.84. So now our task is quite simple. You need to calculate Q, which will be mass times Cp and the difference of these two values. So heat load or exchanger duty will be M. Now again be careful with the units, we need the value in watts, so you need to divide this by 3600 because the flow rate is in kgs per hour, multiplied by Cp and delta T. Now a question point, Cp value is given in kilojoule per kg, so let me write it down. degree Celsius. So your Q should be in kilowatts. Yes. Calculate the value and let me know what value you are getting.
$4,338.9.
Okay. Okay, so roughly I will write it as 4,340 kilowatts, somewhere around that. Alright. Now use this value of Q to find out the flow rate of brackish water. Or rather flow rate of cooling water. You can find out the value in kg per second because that will help us in further steps, because we again have to convert everything into per second basis. We are using SI system over here. So essentially we are right now going step 4 for this today's discussion.
68.89 kg per second.
Yeah, so roughly I will say this value comes out to be 68.9, and for those who couldn't get it, you just divide it by the heat load, which is say 4340. Divide the heat load by the Cp of water times the temperature difference, and this value roughly comes out to be as rightly said by you, 68.9 kg per second. So as you see, we have now completed the step 1 of our design procedure as discussed yesterday. In the step 2, we were asked, or we had said that we'll find out the data points for mu, k and rho, which are already provided to you in the problem statement. The value of mu, k and rho has already been given to you for both brackish water and methanol. So with this we have now completed the step 1 and step 2 of our design procedure. Now we move to step 3. The step 3 was assume some starting point of view. This was our step 3, and to do it we'll be using a chart, okay, which looks like this. Okay, I see we have missed out on one point before that. So sorry. Before that, we should also calculate the delta T mean value before going to this step. Okay, so calculate delta Tm. We had already seen that delta Tm will be delta T LMTD times a correction factor Ft, right? So first step will be to calculate delta T LMTD. So what will be delta T LMTD in this case? 95 minus 40 40 minus 25 divided by log of am I correct? And this comes out to be somewhere around 31 degrees Celsius. Guys, are you following till this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we had discussed in lecture previous to the last lecture, 2 lectures before, in lecture I suppose 9, that this delta t m, that this correction factor ft is a very complex function or of your temperature and passes, and we had seen the nature of the function. So either you can calculate those constants r and s, it was some function of r and s, so you calculate those r and s and proceed, or there are graphs plotted for those r and s. Instead of going to solve that equation completely, you can simply use graphs for it. So what you need to do is you just need to calculate the value of r and s, and that lengthy equation, which was something like this, there was some denominator also on it, will has been plotted here. So you need to calculate the value of r and s. So yeah, do you remember the definition of r and s? Or let me just write down what is the definition for r and s so that you can find out.
Delta TH by delta TCR.
Yeah, delta th by delta tc. And what is s?
So delta
Delta
TC
TC
by
by capital T1 minus small t1.
Yeah, so what is capital T1?
Hot temperature in air.
Hot in
TH
minus
cold in.
minus cold in, right? So just calculate those values. So this will look like 95 minus 40 upon 40 minus 25, which is 3.67. Delta TC is again 40 minus 25. Hot in was 95, cold in was 25. So 14 minus 20, 15, 15 by 70. 15 by 70 is around 0.21. So 3.67 and 0.21. Now I go here. This value is 0.21. So change the color. So this will lie somewhere over here. And the value of r was 3.67. So this is the line for 3, there is the line for 4, this is the line for 3, this is line for 4. 3.67 line will be somewhere in between them, thing like this. And then we extend a line roughly see where the intersection is coming and find out the ft value, which is somewhere coming out here, right? Yeah, alright, and this value is around 0.85. Is this clear how to use the graph for calculating ft? Alright, yeah, clear. So again, ft was function of the temperatures and the passes, how many passes are there, one shell pass, two tube pass. So, and for each passes system, like 1 to heat exchanger, there is one set of equation. For 2 there is some other set of equation. For 2 there is some other set of equation. So instead of having those many equations or remembering those equations, what they have done is they have generated graphs. You just calculate the value of S, and then take the appropriate line for R, do the intersection as we did over here, and on the y-axis you will get the value of ft, which is somewhere coming out to be 0.85 in our case. And again, yeah, I forgot to mention, we have decided to use one shell pass and two tube passes for the starting as our initial guess. So let me just quickly incorporate that. So right, so this is our initial guess that we have taken. Let's say we start with one shell pass and two tube pass. This is what we thought of, and then we use that to use the monogram. So that graph is called as monogram. So we use that in so we use the monogram for one shell pass, two tube pass. We calculate the value of R and S, and using that we get the value of ft to be 0.85, and therefore the value of delta Tm is 0.85 times 31, which is, yes, anyone? I hope you are getting this value.
26.34.
Okay, so I say around 26 then, roughly, approximate, something like 26 or 26.3. Let's keep it precise, because this has a direct effect. Around 26.3 degrees Celsius. All right. So now delta T is known, Q is known. So then what's our next step? We assume some value of U. So why we do it? We assume the value of U so that we can use it in the expression Q is equal to UA times delta Tm, and then take a first guess on area and then calculate the value of U. You remember the iterations that we discussed in the last class. So we need to have some starting value of U. For that, again, there is this graph, okay, just pull out the ruler, wherein on this horizontal line your service the various categories of service fluids are given, and the range of U is given for those service fluids. So let me just enlarge it a bit. All right, so all the units are, all the values are in watt per meter square degree Celsius. So they are saying if you are using air, the value will be only up to say hundreds of watt per meter square degree Celsius. You can't get above that. If you are using some steam, then the value will be of the range 4000 to say somewhere around 5000. If you are using some thermal fluids, the values will be around 2500 to 4000. If you are using condensate, so on and so forth. And then these are service fluids. What is the process fluid in our case? It's the methanol. So methanol is a service process fluid, and for then they have given various class. So can anyone tell me in which particular category we will go? Is it a condensating aqueous vapor? Which one it can? Yes, Kaushik.
Boiling organics.
Yeah, it will be somewhere like boiling organics or condensation organic vapors, because we are saying subcooling, right? So subcooling, subcondensation. So we are interested in this range. Somewhere around this. All right. I can take a middle point like this, and we are using brackish water, which is a category of brine. So I take a point over here, a point over here, and I draw a straight line. Let me use the ruler. We have the facility of it. So ruler, I draw a good line, that can pass through them nicely. Somewhere like this. So I'm taking upper limits so that our initial guess of u is big. If we take a small u, that may imply larger areas, and it can lead to getting smaller values of u. So I'm not able to draw. Okay, some problem with the drawing over here, but this point is coming somewhere around here, 2 units away from 500, which is roughly near to 600. So is it okay if we take starting guess to be 600? Oh, let me is it okay if we take a starting guess to be 600, something like that, considering that this limit and this line will go somewhere like this, and each unit is of how many? 1 2 3 4 5. So each unit is of say 50 points, so I can take this value to be 600. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so we take our u assumed u to be 600. The unit was watt per meter square degree Celsius. Now we have a assumed value for u. Alright, this was our step 3. The next step was to decide on the number of tubes and the type of tubes. So we'll use a standard 3.75 inch, the starting range of the tubes that we had discussed, and we'll take the average length. So we had said there are various lengths, 8 feet, 10 feet. Starting from 8 feet, the lengths can vary in a shell and tube heat exchanger. So average length is somewhere around 16 feet, and the very starting pipe diameter that has been prescribed by this AS, TEMA and British standards is 3.75 inches, 3/4 inch. So a standard 3/4 inch pipe has, let me now write down those things. Say step 4. So we are using tubes of 3/4 inch and 16 feet long. So their SI values are 20 mm OD and 16 mm ID. OD ID in the outer diameter, inner diameter, and I should not write them in caps, I should write them in small. These are all standard. You don't need to worry about the thickness. When you say a 3/4 inch pipe, their OD and ID are fixed by those standards. So a pipe for heat exchanger of 3/4 inch, this is the value. You will, in exam you can be given a chart for it. Right now I am directly giving you those values, and then we specify the material. So here we are using cupronickel alloy as the material of construction. Alright, so as per our step 4, we have now decided a number of tubes, and we have already decided the passes before, like there will be 2 tube passes, right? So, and there will be 1 shell pass. We have already decided that. We have calculated delta T, right? So our next step is to calculate the area required. So the required area will be your Q times, this is the guess, okay, you assume, times delta Tn. So this was 4340 kilowatts. We said you assume to be around 600, and that temperature was 26.3. you have to multiply this by 1000 to make it to watts, because the unit of this particular was, the unit of this was degree Celsius. Now whatever value you get will be in meter square, so always be consistent with units. So add numbers to cancel out it, right? Yeah, so what area are you getting if you try to solve this? Somewhere around 278 meter square.
275.03.
Okay, 275. Fine. This is your area. I guess things are clear up to this point. Now, can you convert 16 feet into meter? Because our next target is to calculate the number of tubes required. कितने tubes लगेंगे? We have fixed the dimensions of one tube. How many such tubes will be required? Right? So for that, we know the area. The total area will be pi d L times the total number of tubes. So let me write, area will be n times pi di into L. So for that I first need to know the value of L in meters. I need to know di, which has already been fixed to 16 mm. I know the value of area. So yeah, so small discussion on L. Right. So 16 feet are how many meters? Yes, anyone? Somewhere around 4.88 meters.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Now, if you remember the construction over here, which we discussed, there is this tube sheet coming into picture. Now, when I say the tube is, I hope you have seen that tube sheet in the diagram. So let me draw a tube. So this is our tube, okay, and this is the tube sheet. Alright, this thickness, this particular thickness that has been taken by the tube sheet at both ends, on this end of the heat exchanger and the other end of the heat exchanger, will it be available for heat transfer? Will that area be accommodated in heat transfer? A simple yes or no. Yes, anyone? Yes, Sai Kiran? No, this area won't be available क्योंकि यहाँ पे तो ट्यूब शीट लग गई है, right? So though the pipe length was 4.88 meters, some part of it will now be not available to heat, I mean for the heat exchange, because it has been used in packing. उसको support देने के लिए वो use हुआ है. So we need to subtract that factor. So somewhere around 5 to 6 centimeters of thickness has to be assumed. Like we assume like around 5 centimeters or 6 centimeter thickness has been given to the tube sheet, which is used in that, वो tube को cover भी कर रहा है उतना thickness, and that won't be available. So we need to remove this. So we need to say that we'll take like effective length, let's say 5 centimeter जो है वो अपने ट्यूब शीट ने खा दिया है, इट हैज़ कंज्यूम्ड इट. सो हम इस लेंथ को, इफेक्टिव लेंथ को विल से 4.83 मीटर्स ही मानते हैं. दो योर पाइप इज 16 फीट लॉन्ग, बट स्टिल क्योंकि ट्यूब शीट्स दोनों साइड लगेंगे, वी से लेट्स से 1 इंच थिकनेस की ट्यूब शीट्स लगे, क्वाइट रीजनेबल assumption है, which is somewhere around 2.5 centimeters on each side. So we say 5 centimeters is gone, it's not available. So now we have to use some effective length. अभी देखो तुम्हारा 16 फीट लंबा हीट एक्सचेंजर चल रहा है तो इतना ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है, इट्स जस्ट 1% और 2% ऑफ द लेंथ. बट अगर आप हीट एक्सचेंजर छोटा बनाओगे 8 फीट का, 10 फीट का, दैट विल गो अप. सो यू ऑलवेज हैव टू टेक दिस इनटू कंसिडरेशन. सो हियर विल allowing tube side thickness, tube sheet thickness, we have now used effective length to be 4.83. okay, so pi times diameter was 16 mm, 0.83. What I am calculating is area of one tube, and this comes out to be around 0.3 meter square. Yes, can anyone calculate and verify the value? Please calculate. I mean, it's for all. Everyone calculate the value of area for one tube. This area of one tube is the area which is available for heat transfer. Yes, is this value coming to be around 0.3 meter square?
So 0.2427
Point.
meters square.
Okay, 0.24. Fine. 0.242. Okay, let me just change it. 0.24. It's coming out to be 0.24 meter square. Okay. So now guys, you know area of one tube. एक ट्यूब कितना हीट ट्रांसफर का एरिया दे रही है. You know the total area. Can you guys find out the total number of tubes for one pass? Number of tubes required for one pass. Yes.
So it's coming 1145.
Okay, so ये कैसे होगा? It will be 275 divided by this area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I guess we have made a mistake. We have made a mistake over here. Guys, I am very sorry. Heat exchange कहाँ से होगा? Inner diameter से होगा या outer diameter से होगा? Let me highlight it.
In
नहीं, outer diameter से होगा.
outer diameter.
So हमने inner diameter लिया था. ये हमारी गलती हुई थी इधर. We need to be very careful about it. So instead of 0.16, we need to take 0.2, 0.02. Right? ये हमारी इधर गलती हुई है. So okay, and so we need to be very very careful about it. इसमें हम लोग बहुत बार गलतियाँ कर देते हैं. Since मैं भी आप लोगों के साथ participative way में solve कर रहा हूँ तो फ्लो में मेरे से भी गलती हुई. Be very careful. Take a learning from it. ठीक है. So now I think this area should be 0.3.
sir.
And now here we go back, we put the value of 0.3 and the tubes come out somewhere around 900, 920 I guess. 275.3 आ रहे क्या इतने tubes?
916. Yeah, similar.
या नहीं मैं क्या बोलते हैं राउंड अप वैल्यू लिख रहा हूँ, एग्जैक्ट वैल्यू नहीं लिख रहा हूँ मैं, राउंड अप वैल्यूज लिख रहा हूँ. ठीक है, किसी का थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे आ सकता है. समवन टेक्स एरिया टू बी 0.3001, आई हैव जस्ट टेकन 0.3. समवन टेक्स इट अप टू 5 decimals, so आई एम जस्ट राइटिंग अप्रॉक्स वैल्यू, वेरी क्लोज वैल्यू. सो 916 या आई थिंक मुझे भी उतनी वैल्यू आई थी एक्यूरेट मतलब ये करके. आई थिंक व्हेन यू टेक अप टू 3 decimal points यू विल गेट. सो एक और क्वेश्चन पॉइंट, जब भी आप एग्जाम में सॉल्व करोगे फिक्स द नंबर ऑफ डेसिमल्स, कि हम 4 पॉइंट्स तक ही जाएंगे, क्योंकि कुछ कुछ वैल्यूज आपके बहुत लंबे जाते रहेंगे. दैट विल हेल्प यू इन मेंटेनिंग द कंसिस्टेंसी थ्रू आउट द प्रॉब्लम, एंड दैट विल ईज आउट द थिंग्स फॉर यू ऑल्सो. ऑल राइट, तो हमने एरिया निकाल लिया, नंबर ऑफ ट्यूब्स निकाल लिए. अब यहाँ से ट्यूब का डायमीटर पता है, और हम लोग अब ट्यूब साइड का हीट ट्रांसफर कोएफिशिएंट तो निकाल ही सकते हैं आराम से. नाउ लेट्स डू सम वर्कआउट फॉर फाइंडिंग आउट द डायमीटर ऑफ शेल. शेल डायमीटर कितना होगा, ठीक है. वी नीड टू फाइंड आउट द डायमीटर ऑफ शेल. आवर नेक्स्ट टारगेट इज टू फाइंड आउट द डायमीटर ऑफ शेल. यहाँ से जो भी डेटा है उससे हम लोग ट्यूब साइड का HTC आराम से निकाल लेंगे, उसका काम हो गया है. बट अब हमें शेल का डायमीटर निकालना है, क्योंकि वहाँ वो भी इसी के जैसी सिमिलर प्रोसेस. सो डायमीटर ऑफ शेल, लेट मी राइट इट एज शेल डायमीटर. ऑल राइट, सो टू फाइंड आउट शेल डायमीटर हम फर्स्ट ये डिसाइड करेंगे कि हाउ दिस ट्यूब्स विल बी प्लेस्ड, क्योंकि दैट विल अफेक्ट द डायमीटर. एग्री करते हो या नहीं करते हो, हाँ या ना? सिंपल रेज ऑफ हैंड्स. यस ऋतुजा, यस, ओके ग्रेट, एग्री करते हो. सो लेट्स फिक्स इट टू ट्यूब. नाउ सॉरी, लेट्स फिक्स इट टू ट्रायंगुलर पिच. व्हाई आई एम डूइंग इट? मैं क्या सोच रहा हूँ कि brackish water is corrosive and fouling in nature, so I will put brackish water in the tube. So if I put a lot rather brackish water to tube, and methanol, which is less problematic in terms of corrosion and fouling, on the shell side, I have reduced the cleaning requirements by a lot. So I can go for triangular pitch, where we have seen we get more packing density of tubes, that reduces the shell diameter also, and at the same time cleaning difficult होता है, but इसमें कोई cleaning की ज़रूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि methanol is not that corrosive in nature. So after doing this allotment, this is what we have decided. I can now think of going for a triangular pitch. अगर दोनों फ्लूइड्स आपके कोरोसिव होते तो आप मोर कोरोसिव वाले को ट्यूब साइड में डालते, एंड शेल फ्लूइड इज आल्सो कोरोसिव इन नेचर, सो देन यू हैव टू गो फॉर स्क्वायर पिच or the rotated square pitch, and then depending on the corrosiveness you can then fix that pitch also. So now I have fixed triangular pitch. So let me just read out a diagram of triangular pitch. How does it look like? So you have 3 pipes, which are placed like an equilateral triangle roughly. I'm trying to draw it, and it looks like this. Figures are not exactly up to scale, but कोशिश की है. Okay, let me redraw it in a more better way. Alright, so now ये जो डिस्टेंस है इसको पिच कहते हैं. द डिस्टेंस बिटवीन 2 पाइप्स, इसको हम पिच कहेंगे किसी भी ज्योमेट्री में. जब वो स्क्वायर था तो वो साइड ऑफ द स्क्वायर था. इक्विलेटरल ट्राइंगल में इट विल बी द साइड ऑफ ईच ट्राइंगल. सो उसको हम कहते हैं पिच. देन वी हैव द diameter of pipe which will be outer diameter of each tube rather. ठीक है. एंड नाउ इससे हमें निकालना है बंडल डायमीटर. बंडल डायमीटर क्या है? ये एक शीट है ऐसे. okay. इस शीट में मुझे कितने ट्यूब्स है? 920 इंटू 2 ट्यूब्स फिट करने, राइट? क्योंकि 920 एक पास में लगेंगे, दूसरे पास में भी 920 लगेंगे. मुझे ये सारे शीट्स फिट करने हैं सच इन अ वे कि ये सब ट्रायंगुलर वे में फिट हुए हैं. सो इट विल लुक लाइक दिस. देख रहे हो छोटे छोटे ट्रायंगल्स बन रहे हैं. सो मुझे कितनी बड़ी शीट लगेगी इन सबको फिट करने में? कितनी बड़ी डिस्क लगेगी इनको फिट करने में? आई होप आर यू दैट यू आर गेटिंग व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. हाँ या ना?
Yes, sir.
So what our idea is to find out the diameter of this sheet. कि कितने बड़े सर्कुलर शीट में ये सारे ट्रायंगुलर अरेंजमेंट में बैठ जाएंगे. यू सी ये छोटे छोटे ट्रायंगल्स बन रहे. देखो इक्विलैटरल ट्रायंगल. ऑल राइट. सो फॉर दैट व्हाट डू वी नीड? वी नीड टू नो कि ये पिच कितना है. व्हाट इज पी टी एंड व्हाट इज डी ओ. सो Tema and all have suggested that you use a pitch of 1.25. This PT is 1.25 of the diameter of your tubes. That you always go for PT is equal to 1.25 times the diameter of your tube until and unless आप बहुत ही ज़्यादा corrosive fluids के साथ deal कर रहे हो and you have to increase the distance. So you go for always most of the times 1.25 times of it. यहाँ तक clear है?
Yes, sir.
एंड देन कर्न जिसकी मेथड से हम ये सॉल्व कर रहे हैं, ही एक्चुअली फाउंड आउट सम एम्पेरिकल इक्वेशंस जिससे आप बंडल डायमीटर निकाल सकते हो डायरेक्टली. सो दैट डेटा शीट आई हैव ऑलरेडी प्रोवाइडेड यू which looks like this. So he says that आपको नंबर ऑफ ट्यूब्स पता होने चाहिए एंड आपको आउटर डायमीटर ऑफ द ट्यूब पता होना चाहिए एंड देन यू विल रिक्वायर 2 फैक्टर्स क्योंकि अकॉर्डिंग टू हिम इट फॉलोज अ पावर लॉ. number of tubes and the shell diameter. dB is the diameter that we have to find out. Okay, this follows a power law and these two are the empirical constants that uses. So हमें dB निकालना है तो he simply rearranged it. K1 को यहाँ से यहाँ ले गया and he took the root of n1th order and he said dB is equal to this particular thing. And then we know DO, we know NT, number of tubes required for one pass. NT is the number of tubes required for one pass. We now need to find out the value of K1 and N1. So अब किस टाइप का पिच है? ट्रायंगुलर पिच है. कितने पासेस है? 2 पासेस है. तो ये K1 और N1 के वैल्यूज आपको यूज करना है. So just use these values of K1 and N1, note down in your notebooks as 0.249, 2.207, 0.249 and 2.207. Okay, these were the values of K1 and N1, and your dB, which is the bundle diameter, equals 20 mm, which is the outer diameter of your tube, times number of tubes in one pass, जो कितने आए थे? 920 हमने गेस किए बट एग्जैक्ट नंबर 916 है तो लेट मी पुट 916 over here, डिवाइडेड बाय K1 जो 0.249 है to the power 1 by N1 which is 2.207. and since ये वैल्यू mm में है, ये वाली इधर की भी वैल्यू mm में आएगी. बी केयरफुल विद द यूनिट्स गाइस. सो कितना आ रहा है? अराउंड 820. या कैलकुलेट दिस.
Yes, 822.6.
या समवेयर अराउंड 820, 822, 822. ओके, किसी का कोई और रैंडम वैल्यू नहीं आ रहा है ना? ओके ग्रेट. अब देखो क्या हो रहा है. ये है बंडल डायमीटर, ये वो शीट का डायमीटर जिसके अंदर वो सारे के सारे ट्यूब्स एक्यूमुलेट हो जाएंगे. तो बेसिकली ये तुम्हारे ट्यूब शीट का डायमीटर हो गया. ये तुम्हारी ट्यूब शीट इस डायमीटर की होगी. इसमें हम इस तरह से होल्स ड्रिल करेंगे ब्लू डॉट्स की तरह, एंड उसमें हम ये सारे ट्यूब्स फिट कर देंगे. बट शेल फ्लूइड को फ्लो होने के लिए कुछ तो क्लियरेंस लगेगा. मानते हो नहीं मानते हो? कुछ तो क्लियरेंस लगेगा. यस नो? सिंपल रेज ऑफ हैंड्स. Great, great. So now we'll have to add some clearance diameter to it, some clearance for the shell fluid to flow. So for that we need to fix what type of head are we going to use. I guess I had missed that point in our last lecture, but I will cover it sometime later after this lecture immediately. तो अलग अलग हेड के टाइप्स होते हैं, ठीक है. सो हियर वी फिक्स स्प्लिट रिंग फ्लोटिंग हेड टाइप. मैं नेक्स्ट क्लास में कवर अप कर लूँगा अलग अलग हेड टाइप्स. बट कैसे होते हैं वो, कि हेड फ्लोटेड है, वहाँ से क्लोज्ड है, फ्लैट क्लोजिंग है, आइडिया दे देता हूँ. यहाँ पे इतने सारे ये हेड्स दो अलग अलग दिख रहे हैं आपको. इधर का हेड अलग है, इधर का हेड अलग है. तो ये इनके कुछ क्लासिफिकेशंस है. मैं इनके कंस्ट्रक्शन और ये वाली पॉइंट्स नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में कवर करने वाला हूँ. बट अभी के लिए हम फिक्स कर लेते हैं द हेड टाइप टू बी स्प्लिट रिंग फ्लोटिंग हेड. ये थोड़ा सा मैकेनिकल कंस्ट्रक्शन में ज़्यादा जाता है, एंड यू जस्ट नीड टू नो दिस. इट्स काइंड ऑफ थ्योरेटिकल टॉपिक. सो मैंने इसको न्यूमेरिकल के बाद रखने को प्रेफर किया था. विल बी टेकिंग इट एट दैट टाइम. सो वी जस्ट फिक्स द टाइप ऑफ हेड टू बी स्प्लिट रिंग फ्लोटिंग हेड टाइप. और भी 4-5 टाइप्स है. एंड नाउ दैट वी हैव फिक्स द टाइप, ठीक है, व्हाट द साइंटिस्ट कर्न हैज़ डन फॉर अस इज, उस देखो यहाँ पे दिए हुआ है फिक्स्ड एंड यूट्यूब है. तो हेड इज़ फिक्स्ड, उसको आप रिमूव नहीं कर सकते हो. आउटसाइड पैक्ड हेड मतलब बाहर से वो हेड पैक हुआ है. एंड पुल थ्रू फ्लोटिंग हेड मतलब आप उसको खींच के सब कुछ बाहर खींच सकते हो उसके थ्रू. इसका कंस्ट्रक्शन मैं अगले क्लास में कवर करूँगा. सो व्हाट दे हैव डन इज, आप सिंपली बंडल डायमीटर लो और ये एक लाइन दिया है उन्होंने, एक स्ट्रेट लाइन प्लॉट किया अलग अलग. एंड so our bundle diameter was coming around 0.8 meters. So basically we'll be using this line, and we have said that we are using split ring floating head. So it intersects this slant line at this point. इसके corresponding y axis का point लेना है. Oops, I've drawn somewhere wrong. So ये 70 के बहुत क्लोज है. इट्स वेरी क्लोज टू 70. सो आई कैन सी इट टू बी 68 समथिंग लाइक दैट, बिकॉज इट इज़ डेफिनेटली अबव 65. आई हैव नॉट ड्रॉन इट करेक्टली, सो यूज अ रूलर. या अब क्लियर हो रहा है. इट इज़ वे अबव 60 एंड वेरी क्लोज टू 70. सो आई कैन से दिस पॉइंट टू बी अराउंड 68. यू सी 65 यहाँ पे बीच में आएगा. So I can say this point to be around 68. And यहाँ पे यूनिट देखो क्या है, मीटर्स, मिलीमीटर्स. वाई एक्सिस का यूनिट मिलीमीटर्स है एंड एक्स एक्सिस का यूनिट था मीटर्स. सो बी केयरफुल. सो हियर, सो नाउ यू हैव टू बेसिकली ऐड 68 mm as the clearance. So I will say that our diameter clearance is around 68 mm. How? We have taken it from the graph. And I add it to the bundle diameter to get the shell side diameter. ds is the shell diameter. Which is coming out to be dB plus the clearance of say 68 mm. So this is 70, this is 820, somewhere around 890 mm. ओके, नाउ अगेन हम कोई भी रैंडम डायमीटर का शेल नहीं यूज कर सकते हैं. टेमा हैज अगेन स्पेसिफाइड द वेरियस डायमीटर्स ऑफ शेल्स एंड देयर थिकनेसेस. सो व्हाट वी हैव टू डू इज, as per the calculation, we then have to fix a nearest value to it. So according to TEMA, there are two nearest values. One is 863 mm, other is 914 mm. These are the two standard pipes. क्योंकि शेल क्या है, एक सिलेंडर जिसको दो कैप्स लगी है दो साइड से. So according to them, either you can go for 863 mm inner dia or 914 mm inner dia. ठीक है, so we'll have to use the closest one, so we'll use 914 mm. This is all standard procedures that has to be followed by everyone. आप randomly किसी भी diameter का pipe order नहीं कर सकते हो. वो ये उनके diameters और thicknesses fixed होते हैं. आपने ये fluid mechanics में भी देखा होगा. So we'll go for around 914 mm dia. This is clear, right? Yeah. ओके ग्रेट. अब देखो हुआ, अब देखो हम लोग कहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं. हम लोगों ने दोनों डायमीटर्स निकाल लिए. ठीक है, दोनों साइड के डायमीटर्स निकाल लिए. डायमीटर्स पता चल गए तो अब हम आराम से वेलोसिटी निकाल सकते हैं. रेनॉल्ड्स नंबर निकल जाएगा क्योंकि उसको वेलोसिटी चाहिए होती है, डायमीटर चाहिए होता है, बाकी दो मटेरियल के प्रॉपर्टीज़ है, विस्कोसिटी एंड डेंसिटी. प्रेंटल नंबर चाहिए होता है विच इज़ a pure function of which is a ratio of your material properties only. वो भी हमारे पास है तो वो निकल गया. And then what we used to do is we used to say h को हम निकालते थे as a function of Reynolds number and Prandtl number. And what we used to primarily do for calculating any HTC is this: Nusselt number is equal to some constant times Reynolds number to the power something Prandtl number to the power something. So say this is to the power a and this is to the power b, plus viscosity changes with temperature, and that has a very big role to play on your mass on your boundary layer. So we need to have some viscosity correlation included as well, which we neglected अगर temperature difference is small. Mu w is the viscosity at wall temperature. This is at wall temperature. Last example जब हमने देखा था and जो cases देखे थे, this is mu at wall temperature. उसमें इतना ज़्यादा difference नहीं आ रहा था. So we most of the times tend to neglect this term. Okay. So this is all that we had learned. And then two more important points. In the Nusselt number, this diameter has to be based on heat transfer, and in this is based on your fluids. So ये दो अलग होते हैं. This is D equivalent based on the fluid thing, which is 4 times area divided by wetted perimeter, and this will be 4 times area divided by the perimeter across which heat transfer is taking place. So ये हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया था. एंड देन दिस Prandtl नंबर के जो पावर है b वो 0.4 होती है, वो 0.33 होती है, एंड फॉर ऑल फ्लूइड्स दिस वैल्यू ऑफ c इज 0.023. This value is 0.8, heating and cooling respectively 0.4. We had all discussed it, but we can't use this expression. This is all okay for doing through pipe के through कुछ fluid flow हो रहा है, इसके लिए सही है. But when we have to go for shell side, you know, more complexities are involved. Then fouling बहुत होगा. This expression has nothing to do with fouling, and so fouling on tube side and the shell side uncertainty, क्योंकि there are so many you see कॉम्प्लेक्शंस इन द फ्लो पैटर्न्स इन द शेल साइड. वो बैफल के ऊपर से जा रहा है, बैफल का कट चेंज हुआ तो उसका वो एरिया चेंज हो जाता है फ्लो का एंड ऑल. देर आर सो मैनी. यहाँ पे देखो बैफल चेंज कर दिया मैंने थोड़ा सा तो उसका फ्लो पैटर्न चेंज हो जा रहा है. देर आर सो मैनी अनसर्टेनिटीज इन्वॉल्व. वेलोसिटी इज़ नॉट कॉन्स्टेंट एवरीवेयर. हमने तो एक एवरेज वेलोसिटी निकालेंगे शेल में. इस पॉइंट पे वेलोसिटी शेल में इधर, देन इधर, फिर समवेयर इधर, ये तीनों वेलोसिटीज अलग अलग होंगे. तो यू कांट यूज दिस एक्सप्रेशन क्योंकि वी आर डायरेक्टली पुटिंग अ कांस्टेंट वैल्यू ऑफ वेलोसिटी ओवर हियर इन दिस रेनॉल्ड्स नंबर, एक कांस्टेंट वैल्यू ऑफ वेलोसिटी. सो अनसर्टेनिटी होगी, एग्जैक्ट वैल्यू हम प्रेडिक्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे. सो दिस हैज टू बी एचटीसी में. सो व्हाट वी डू इज वी गो फॉर slightly modified version which was given by Butterworth, another scientist. He said no problem, what I will do is I will make some more modifications to it जिसमें ये सारे errors incorporate हो जाएंगे. So we had discussed Stanton number in our lecture on non-dimensionless numbers, on dimensionless numbers, I'm sorry. So he said instead of going for Nusselt number as a function of Reynolds and Prandtl number, why don't you guys go for Stanton number as a function of Reynolds number and Prandtl number? So Stanton number was defined as the ratio of Nusselt number to the product of Reynolds and Prandtl number. Okay, so now if you even try to divide this expression over here, so divide by REPR, so this will go to minus 0.2 and this Prandtl number will be 0.33 minus 1, so it can be somewhere around minus 0.7 or something. And then he made some corrections to that orders, and he said that this relation is something like some constant to Reynolds number power something and Prandtl number power something, and he tried to modify it, tried to include some more factors. Then he said this factor is of, so he's basically tried to develop empirical equations for it. ये सारे experiment से आए हैं. All right, so what Kern said is हम और simple करते काम. हम क्या करते हैं, we introduce a new factor JH जो इन सारी चीज़ों को accommodate कर लेगा, and we say that Nusselt number is now JH times Reynolds number into Prandtl number to the power 0.33 times mu by mu W to the power 0.14. ये JH जो है that will accommodate how is your heat transfer design, कितने passes है shell में, कितने passes है tube में, baffle cuts, pitch, triangle, स्क्वायर, रोटेटेड स्क्वायर. तो शेल साइड में ये सारे फैक्टर्स हो गए. ट्यूब साइड में कि दिस विल अकोमोडेट ऑल दोज थिंग्स, दिस JH. सो these just have made some empirical expression for it. All right, and they said now you go and use this expression and find out your values, and they made the work very easy. And now we are going to use this same thing in our case. यहाँ तक सब कुछ क्लियर हो रहा है? That why we are not going to use Nusselt number is 0.023 power RE to the power 0.8 into Prandtl number to the power कितना रहा था वो 0.33 और 0.4. Yeah, I can see some yes. Good. So we'll be using this kind of expression. All right. So इसके लिए क्या है, ग्राफ्स है. मैंने आपको कुछ ग्राफ्स ऑलरेडी प्रोवाइड किए हैं which will be useful in this problem. So to calculate tube side heat transfer factor JH, you need to know Reynolds number and the length to diameter ratio, length of the tube to the diameter of the tube ratio. That's it. This is what they said. To calculate the shell side heat transfer coefficient, you need to know the type of your baffles. So you see इधर triangular square दो अलग से दे रखा है, and you need to know the Reynolds number and it's also a function of baffle cut percentage, कितना cut है. So we will now have to fix baffle cut percentage while we calculate HTC for the shell side. So our first step is to calculate the tube side heat transfer coefficient. So for that we need to calculate Reynolds number. So quickly we'll move to calculating tube side HTC, and for that first step is to calculate the Reynolds number. Yes guys, you can now move on to find out the Reynolds number. Which will be, yes, anyone? You, इसमें तो काफ़ी सिंपल है क्योंकि it's a simple cylinder. You have to use inner diameter of the pipe as the diameter. You need to calculate the velocities. So again, अब इस problem में हुआ ये है कि we have said that total number of tubes are 916. Okay, so since we had used 916 only while calculating the bundle diameter over here, so while taking the velocity you need to use half of the tubes for one flow and half of the tubes for the other flow. Let me just note it down over here. Since NT has been taken as 916 tubes, 453 tubes will be for first pass and rest will be for second pass. So 453 tubes में से total tube side fluid को flow होना है. Alright, so आपको एक जब एरिया ये निकालना होगा velocity flow rate, तो you need to know the area also, the flow area. So that will be 453 into pi into 0.016 square divided by 4. This is pi d. Am I making a blunder over here? No, I'm not making. Yeah, number into area. This is number times area. Yeah, no blunder. So this will give you the area, cross-sectional area. And then you divide the mass flow rate of tube में है water by this area of cross section, and then you will get and this density also, and then you will get velocity. Alright, so go for this calculation and first calculate the velocity of brackish water. So let me go back. देखता हूँ. ब्रैकिश वाटर का फ्लो रेट था 68.9 kg per second. kg per second. Density of brackish water is 995. kg per meter cube, and ये इधर का क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया आ रहा है somewhere around 0.009 meter square. Can someone cross check and let me know the value? Yes? Anyone? Yes, Rutuja, Devang, anyone? Can you? So total number of tubes we calculated to 916. The thing is, let me explain it why I was wrong initially when I had said वो double हो जाएगा. See over here we calculated the area. This is total area, right? And then we said total area ये है which was somewhere 275 meter square. Then हमने एक ट्यूब का एरिया निकाला which was this. Now we divided the total area by area of one tube, and what we got was the total number of tubes. Over here we got here is total number of tubes. Now ये total number of tubes into area of one tube अगर हम multiply करेंगे तो that will again give me back the total heat exchanging area. Now we have already decided that there will be two passes in the heat exchanger, so I have to allot half tubes to one pass and half tubes to other pass. I need to divide them equally, right? If it would have been 4 passes, then I would have to divide it in 4 equal numbers, so it would have been 920 by 4 per pass, and in each pass the total amount of fluid will flow through them. So I was wrong initially, I'm sorry, and thank you Rutuja for pointing it out. So हमें उसको उस तरह से allot करना होगा, and then it comes out that we required around 450 tubes in one pass. And now क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया कितना होगा? एक ट्यूब का क्रॉस सेक्शन एरिया, सी वी हैव दीज मेनी ट्यूब, सी एक ट्यूब है. जब हम डबल पाइप हीट एक्सचेंजर देख रहे थे तो एक ही ट्यूब से फ्लूइड फ्लो हो रहा था. अब हमारे पास 450 ट्यूब से जिनमें से ये फ्लूइड फ्लो हो रहा है, सो वी हैव टू मल्टीप्लाई दिस बाय 450 और द नंबर ऑफ ट्यूब्स पर पास. दैट विल गिव मी द टोटल क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया, और टोटल एरिया जिससे वो फ्लूइड फ्लो हो रहा है. मास फ्लो रेट पता है, उसको डेंसिटी से डिवाइड किया तो वॉल्यूमेट्रिक फ्लो रेट पता चल गया, एंड उसको एरिया से डिवाइड किया तो हमें वेलोसिटी पता चल गई. इज दिस क्लियर गाइज ना ऋतुजा?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for pointing me out. Thank you. And I hope now I am very clear, and you all are also very clear with it. Ki why we had blundered. I don't know, something just went on and we blundered it over there. Sai Kiran, Deva, Kaushik. ओके ग्रेट. तो यहाँ तक आपको समझ में आया? ओके, इसको इतना ज़्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेट नहीं करना रहा तो मैं एक और टेक्निक एक और चीज़ मैं आपको बता देता हूँ. ठीक है, दिस इज डी वी रो बाई म्यू. ओके, आप इतना बड़ा मतलब कैलकुलेशन वेलोसिटी निकालो, फिर उस वेलोसिटी को डालो. देखिए, इतने करने की ज़रूरत नहीं. अगर आपको मास फ्लो रेट भी पता रहा तो आप सिंपली वेलोसिटी की जगह उसको यूज़ करके भी काम चला सकते हो. यू जस्ट हैव टू ट्वीक इन विथ सम arrangements over here. Think about it, how you can do it. That will save some calculations for you in the exam. So this velocity, anyways, I will write the value of velocity. It's somewhere around 0.75 meter per second. And you can always go dv rho by mu. ठीक है. So kudos to all those who could find it out. For others हम लोग क्या करेंगे, इधर d mu, ठीक है, वेलोसिटी की जगह मास फ्लो रेट बाय डेंसिटी इनटू डेंसिटी, और इधर एरिया भी आएगा. So I can simply have it as outer diameter times the mass flow rate divided by area times viscosity. This is just to save time, okay, क्योंकि calculating velocity is cumbersome in some cases. So someone can possibly think of this and go ahead. एक जस्ट आइडिया दे रखा है. Okay, so now I'll quickly put out the numbers for you guys. Yeah, someone is saying something in chat. Okay, just to, so it should be inner diameter. Yeah, inner diameter. You're right. DI. The Reynolds number floor diameter होगा. Outer diameter will be in the heat transfer. So you will get the Reynolds number. So मैं जो अभी just to save time मैं trivial calculations जो है मैं direct values आपको देते रहता हूँ. And जहाँ जहाँ पे मेजर कुछ पार्ट आएगा विल देन लुक इनटू इट. सो दिस रेनॉल्ड नंबर कम्स टू बी अराउंड 14,900 एंड प्रेंटल नंबर विच इज CP म्यू बाई K. ठीक है, दिस विल कम अराउंड 5.7. नाउ दैट वी नो रेनॉल्ड्स एंड प्रेंटल नंबर, what we have to do is we need to go back to this sheet. ठीक है, our Reynolds number was 14,000 something, somewhere around 15,000. So what is 15,000 can be written as 15 into 10 power 3 or 1.5 into 10 power 4. So this will be over here somewhere in between. So we need to find out the L by D ratio. So take the appropriate L by D ratio. Okay, next target is to take the appropriate L by D ratio and then take the correct line for it and find out the value. So the L by D ratio comes somewhere around 400 or something, and when you just say that this line will be something like a slant line like this, and then you put the scale, you go back and you will get a value somewhere around 3.9 into this multiplying factor 10 raised to the power minus 3 for your JH. Is this clear? Okay, L by D is somewhere around 300. I just check my calculation. L by D is coming somewhere around 300. You know Reynolds number. Use these two things on the graph and you will get the JH value to be around 3.9 into 10 raised to the power minus 3. Now you need to use the relation that we had already discussed. Nusselt number is equal to JH times where it is, yeah, this one. So you plug in the value of JH over here. You know Reynolds number, you know Prandtl number. We are ignoring this term again because there is not significant change in mu and mu w. This is eventually turning out to be 1, and you find out the value of Nusselt number. So you just put all the values over there and you try to find out the value of HII. So let me say this expression as star, and using star you will get the value of HII. HII is the HI for the, or HI simply, as around 3800 watts per meter square degree Celsius. Okay, a homework for you guys is to try and solve this problem. I mean, try and get check whether you are getting this value or not. Okay, because we want to quickly wrap this up, we just have to do one last calculation and we are done. For the shell side, HTC, now we need to do some understanding over here. To find out the shell side thing, in the Reynolds number we will have to use some diameter and we will have to use some velocity. We'll have to use a velocity. So what will be the velocity and what will be the diameter? Okay, so for that first we fix the baffle spacing. If you remember, there were baffles to create the turbulence, and we now need to fix the baffle spacing. First सेकेंड, वी नीड टू फिक्स द बैफल कट्स. बैफल स्पेसिंग फिक्स होने से क्या होता है, हम ये जो एक रीजन है इनके अंदर का, ये हम इसको एक यूनिट की तरह ट्रीट करते हैं. एंड वी से कि हम इस रीजन के बीच में जो भी वेलोसिटी निकालेंगे दैट विल बी यूनिफॉर्म थ्रू आउट द अदर सेक्शन. यही इधर के सेक्शन में होगा. वी नाउ हैव डिवाइडिंग इट इनटू स्मॉलर सेक्शंस विच आर आइडेंटिकल. तो एक एक दो बैफल स्पेसिंग के अंदर का रीजन वी से इज आइडेंटिकल. सो बेसिकली कितना वो लेंथ है वो हम उसको ये निकालने के लिए. सो से there are 5 baffles or there are 5 such units. So what they do is shell diameter का 1/5 distance is your baffle spacing. एक general term है use करने के लिए. I mean you can take it 10, you can use it 6, 7, 8, but 5 is a very common number. So 1/5 of the shell diameter is used as the baffle spacing. This is commonly used. You can change it. So shell diameter was somewhere around 890 or something, 890 I think, and divided by 5. So this value is somewhere around 175, 176, or let's say 178. So we'll just put this value as somewhere around 175 mm. So this is your baffle spacing. We know the tube pitch PT जो हमने पहले निकाल लिया था as 25 mm. Now the target is to find out the cross flow area. कितना एरिया हमें मिल रहा है उस फ्लो में. ऑलराइट, दो बैफल्स के बीच में, एक बैफल, ये एक बैफल, ठीक है. दिस इज बैफल 2, दिस इज बैफल 1. इनके बीच में कितना एरिया मिल रहा है. व्हाट विल बी दिस हम इसको एक सिलेंडर की तरह कह सकते हैं. ओके, दिस इज लाइक सिलेंडर 1 एंड दिस इज लाइक अ स्मॉल सिलेंडर, बट जिसकी लेंथ इज दिस 175, बट फुल डायमीटर तो हमें नहीं मिल रहा है क्योंकि उसके अंदर ये बहुत सारे ट्यूब्स है, राइट. तो हम क्या करेंगे, हमें एक फैक्टर निकालना होगा कि डायमीटर का कितना परसेंट शेल फ्लूइड को फ्लो करने के लिए अवेलेबल है एंड कितना लेंथ, और उसको हम फिर यूज़ करेंगे. सो विल से क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया. अब देखो, आई एम नाउ टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस डायमीटर ओवर हियर. ये जो डायमीटर मैं इसकी बात कर रहा हूँ, इस डायमीटर में कहीं पे ट्यूब आ रही है, कहीं पे स्पेसिंग आ रही है, फिर ट्यूब, फिर स्पेसिंग, फिर ट्यूब, फिर स्पेसिंग, फिर ट्यूब, फिर स्पेसिंग, फिर ट्यूब, फिर स्पेसिंग, इस टाइप से आ रहा है. तो हमें ये देखना है कि एक डायमीटर के अक्रॉस कितना फ्रैक्शन ट्यूब का है. सो that can be easily found out by this. This is PT minus DO by DO. So let's say this is the dimension across the diameter, ठीक है. This is DO distance, this is DO distance. तो इस लाइन के अक्रॉस जब मैं जा रहा हूँ, ये वाली लाइन, ओके, तो PT डिस्टेंस में DO इज द डिस्टेंस दैट इज कवर्ड बाय ट्यूब. सो द फ्रैक्शन दैट इज अवेलेबल, ये वाली फ्रैक्शन जिसमें से शेल फ्लूइड फ्लो हो सकता है, दैट विल बी PT minus DO by DO. This is the only fraction that is, sorry, PT minus DO by PT. So this is the fraction of PT that is available for the fluid to flow across any किसी भी तरह से मैं अगर डायमीटर को ये करूँ. सो ये हो गया फ्रैक्शन ऑफ डायमीटर. ये एक यूनिट का हो गया, एक ट्रायंगल का. ऐसे बहुत सारे ट्रायंगल पीछे से. सो नाउ दैट आई नो द फ्रैक्शन दैट इज अवेलेबल, दिस पर्टिकुलर फ्रैक्शन, I then multiply it by the total diameter of the shell times the length. Length कौन सी 178. दिस इज द क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया, एक क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया. ऐसे मल्टीपल क्रॉस सेक्शन से ये हो गया एक क्रॉस सेक्शन एरिया ऑफ द फ्लूइड. फिर अगेन वो ये एक क्रॉस सेक्शन उसको मिला फ्लो करने का, ये फिर वो यहाँ से दूसरे क्रॉस सेक्शन. फिर बेसिकली इसको मैं एक सांप की तरह देख सकता हूँ. Am I allowed to do so what I'm seeing this is like this, ये एक सांप की तरह फ्लो हो रहा है, राइट. और ये रस्सी मान लो, और ये रस्सी का जो पीली लाइन है ना उसका डायमीटर हम लोग उसका हम लोग एरिया निकाले, क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया, समथिंग लाइक दिस. इज इट क्लियर और बहुत हैवी हो रहा है समझने के लिए? यस ऋतुजा, कौशिक, देवांग, साई किरण.
थोड़ा हैवी है सर.
Okay, what we'll do is we'll stop the problem over here. I understand that we have exceeded more than 90 minutes, and I very well understand कि once we cross that 1 hour limit, it becomes heavy to understand, and I also don't want to be a man who is standing between your lunch. So take some rest. No, I understand it. It's more than 70 minutes that we took to solve this. I mean, and the class can become heavy at this time. So no problem. We'll take this part in the next class, and we'll continue. I will go through the parts that we had discussed in this lecture in the next class, and then I will take this point again. And at that time you will be able to understand it. I understand the class बहुत लंबा हो रहा है, तो things can become problematic. So we'll stop today's lecture here. We'll continue it in the next class. All right. So in the next class we'll again solve this problem. We'll complete it. So thank you.